If I had to use one word to describe it, it would be terrible. But honestly, that word still isn't enough. My name is Talia. I was 17 years old at the time. This happened in February 2024, in Wisconsin. Winters here aren't always heavy with snow, but ice is everywhere, especially in places people don't really think about, like the large parking lot outside the movie theater where I worked part-time. My shift usually ended after the last showing, close to midnight, and baked in that felt completely normal to me. That night, I clocked out at 11:55 p.m. The theater was empty, with only the smell of cold popcorn and cleaning solution left behind. I zipped my jacket all the way up to my chin, stepped out through the side door, and the cold wind hit my face immediately. The parking lot stretched out in front of me, a few yellow lights reflecting off a thin layer of ice, my shoes making that sharp crunching sound as I walked. I reached for my phone to text my mom like I always did, and that's when I realized it wasn't there. Not in my jacket pocket, not in my pants, not anywhere I checked. I stopped in the middle of the parking lot, slowly turning around, like my phone might somehow appear on the snow. My heart started racing, partly from losing it, partly from panic. I went back inside the theater, checked the ticket counter, my locker, my bag, then asked my coworker Jess if she'd seen it. She said she remembered me holding it earlier, and guessed I would have dropped it outside. I asked security to check the cameras. The guard, Ron, was older, moved slowly, and told me there were a few blind spots in the parking lot where the cameras didn't reach. He asked if I was sure I hadn't handed my phone to someone to hold for me. I said no. He told me to go home and come back in the morning to look again. I borrowed Jess's phone and called my mom to pick me up. I kept it short, just told her I'd lost my phone. She told me to stay close to the theater entrance and not go back out into the parking lot. Once I got in the car, the doors locked and the heater came on. The uneasy feeling faded really fast enough that I convinced myself it was just a small mistake. The next morning, a stranger called my friend. They said they'd seen a movie the night before and found my phone in the parking lot. Their voice was polite, calm. They asked if I wanted it back and suggested meeting up to return it. Said the location was convenient, kind of cute, but not far from the theater. All I could think about was my phone, nothing else. I asked a friend to come with me. Her name was Lily. I didn't have a phone yet, and I didn't want to meet a stranger alone. We drove to the meeting spot in the late afternoon, but it got dark really quickly that day. The road leading there had fewer streetlights than I expected. There were no parked cars, no one waiting. Lily started asking questions. Why didn't they just turn the phone into the theater? Why meet here? I brushed it off. In my head, there was only one thought: get the phone and go home. As we slowed down near the spot, Lily suddenly told me to look to the right. Under the weak streetlight, there were two men standing close together near the curb. They weren't holding a phone. They weren't waving. They were just standing there, staring. That was when I knew something was wrong. Lily didn't wait for me to say anything. She turned the car around and hit the gas. I looked in the rearview mirror and saw the two men start running after us. Not far, just a short distance, but enough to know we weren't imagining it. Then they stopped, stood there watching us drive away, and one of them smiled in a way I still can't explain. We didn't go back. We didn't detail John. We just drove straight to Lily's house and sat there in silence for a long time. We convinced ourselves we'd probably misunderstood, that saying something would only make things complicated. And most of all, I was scared my mom would find out. 2 days later, my phone called my house. It was around 11 p.m. The call came through on the kitchen landline. The number on the screen was mine. My mom told me later that the voice on the other end sounded panicked. It said her name. It sounded exactly like her daughter, like me, scared and crying. I told her to come outside right away. Said I was freezing and standing near the side of the house. My mom ran toward the back door on instinct, but before she could open it, our dog Benny suddenly started barking aggressively, the way he only does when a stranger is very close. She froze, cracked the door open slightly, and saw a figure standing against the side wall of the house, right in a blind spot. It wasn't me. She slammed the door shut, locked it, and ran upstairs calling my name. When she found me asleep in my bed, safe, she woke me up. We were both terrified. We ran downstairs and looked toward the door. The door was being pulled hard, the handle shaking like someone was trying to force it open. I started screaming. My mom called 911. The police arrived a few minutes later, but whoever it was had already left. They told us to be careful and said they would expand the investigation to make sure we were safe. After that, things were really bad for a while. If I had gone alone that day, or if my mom had stepped outside for just a few more seconds, I don't know what would have happened. To this day, we still don't know who those two men were. I didn't arrive on time, and that might be the only reason my son is still here. It was January 2021, in a small town in western Ohio, the kind of place where winter lasts too long and life runs on routine. At the time, I worked as an accountant for a local furniture store. Nothing unusual, nothing dangerous. My son's name is Evan. He was 16 then, a junior at the local high school. I picked him up every school day at 6:40 p.m. Always that time. Always me. I drove a gray 2016 Honda CR-V. There was a small scratch on the rear bumper. Evan used to say that was how he spotted my car. The pickup area was right in front of the school, and Evan usually waited near the second light pole. Backpack on one shoulder, headphones half on. It was routine, predictable, safe. That Evanine snow was falling harder than usual. A minor accident on the highway brought traffic to a crawl. The clock on my dashboard read 6:52, and I was still a few blocks away from the school. I picked up my old iPhone and texted Evan. Running late, stuck in traffic. The message went through, but he didn't reply, and I assumed he was cold or his phone battery was low, so I didn't worry. By the time I turned into the pickup lot, it was fully dark. Most of the cars were gone, and the ground was covered in fresh snow. There was only one car left, parked exactly where I usually stopped. It was a black sedan with tinted windows, headlights on engine running, parked neatly like it belonged there. Then I saw Evan. He was standing near the passenger side of that car, too close. The window rolled down a few inches, and a man's voice came from inside, calm and controlled. "Evan, get in. Your mom asked me to pick you up." I slammed on the brakes and hit the horn once, then again. Evan turned around, saw my car, and stepped back immediately. The sedan's window rolled up, the headlights turned off, and the car pulled away slowly. Not rushed, not panicked, like nothing strange had happened. Evan got into my car. His hands were ice cold. "I thought you sent him," he said. He knew my name. That night, I locked the doors earlier than usual, turned on extra lights, and told myself it was probably a mistake, just a terrible coincidence. 3 days later, the school sent out a security notice. A man driving a black sedan had been seen in the pickup area for several weeks, always at the same time, always in the same spot. He never entered the school. He stayed in his car, watching. Another parent reported that their child had also been called by name. That same night, at 2:13 a.m., my doorbell camera sent a motion alert. I opened the app and saw a man standing just outside the fence, wearing a knit cap, not looking at the camera. He was just standing there, still. And after about a minute, he walked away. The police never identified anyone. There was no clear license plate and no clear face. The school changed its pickup procedures after that. As for me, I never picked Evan up at the same time again. Some days I arrived early, some days I arrived late, sometimes someone else picked him up. We changed cars a few months later. But whenever snow falls heavily and the clock gets close to 6:40, I still think about that black sedan. I understand something now. I wasn't late that day. I was just lucky enough to be late.
Want to hear more stories like this? Hit follow. The night isn't over yet.